Hey, hey, hey. Coach Wheeler here, and today I want to bring you a really interesting subject that's going to have a tip and a trick, but it's also how I get to do these videos. What leads me to the knowledge, what leads me to the tip or the trick or the habit or the practice or something that we can use, and where that comes from. Recently, I had a group session with a bunch of people, and I do these events. They're very brand new, but I sit down and I talk about mental health, I talk about mindset, purpose, life coaching, what I do, and how I apply that, and how that can possibly help the people I'm speaking to. And I talk about my one-to-one sessions, my group sessions, my private practice, and all those different things. And through the session, the seminar, if you like, the event that I was doing, there was two different sessions or two different events, and in one of them or two of them, the same question came up about how do I know what I'm saying is right? How do I get that information? How do I know that I'm qualified? And how do I know it's going to work? Now, obviously, I have my two qualifications behind me, which are certified and part of the International Coaching Federation. But there's a ton of books that I read on psychology, on strategy, on motivation, on mindsets, on different philosophies from Ikigai to Gestalt therapy to logotherapy, NLP, and all the elements they use. Then also I have my personal experience, the difficult times I've gone through and the way I got through those things. And the way that my mind processes that helps me become a coach. And also the stories I hear from my clients and from life. And you hear something, you think, wow, that's a crazy story. This thing happened and that came to that and they did this and they must have been thinking this or something along that. And that's led them to this and da 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 da. And you can piece all that together. Now I have obviously my mindset and my skill set and my application and my decision to do this leads me to, and I have a passion for it, so it becomes easy. And when you love doing something, that's what you should be doing. And a lot of the times when I sit down with my clients, they'll come to me and say, I'm lost, I'm stuck, I have this limiting belief, I keep going around in circles, I keep having this same argument, my relationship's terrible, my job's terrible, I'm getting bullied at school, this, that and the other, my confidence is low, I feel anxious, I'm overthinking. All those different things amalgamate into what I do. And this led me to this video today because I was reading a story about the boy with the broken brain. And it's an American motivational speaker, I can't remember his name, but when he was a kid he fell over, excuse me, and hit his head. And it gave him some damaged his brain at that time. Not long-term effects, but it made it really difficult for him to learn. And because of that, he then became a bit reserved, he became a bit anxious, and he really struggled with things. And it went through school that he needed more time to learn those things than other kids. And it must be really difficult for teachers to have a blanket education that covers all 30 kids in that class because we all learn things different ways. Some people are more visual, some people are more practical, some people are more analytical, some people need to write it down, some people need it explained 5 times, some people need to do it and to put that into a classroom. So it was really difficult for him anyway. And he came to about 9 or 10 years old when one of the kids in class called him stupid and called him a name. And the teacher defended him, said, "Oi, leave him alone, he's the boy with the broken brain." And that stuck in his mind. Fast forward 20, 30 years where he is now, he's now a motivational speaker and he teaches education and does the same sort of thing as what I do in a different way. But he helps people to overcome their limiting beliefs and shows them how to educate themselves and to grow their business and to grow their lives and to grow their knowledge and all those different things. But it came from that difficult time that he went through. And this is the point of today's video. It's kind of a bit of a mishmash of lots of different things, but it's about the importance of facing your challenges, the importance of overcoming your limiting beliefs and your fears and getting through that because he had to. Now, the teacher was really kind and said, look, I'm going to help you. You struggle with these things, but if you do a report on Einstein and go away and study it and do this report, I will give you double credits because I know the difficulties you'd have had to get there to do this. If you achieve certain levels, you still have to get the scores, but I'll give you extra credits and it will help you along your way because he wasn't an unintelligent kid. He wasn't stupid. The damage that he received when he was a child didn't affect him long term. It just made that part of his brain more of a challenge. So he had to adapt himself to get through that challenge. Anyway, it came to this one day when he'd been working on this thing, he'd been going away, and he got really excited about it. He found the passion. I love learning. And when he was learning about Einstein, he learned all these different things. He's like, wow, some of these things, as a 9-year-old, I can integrate into my life. And as a 9, 10-year-old, something clicked in his brain and switched on. So even though he had that damage, Him facing that fear made him a better version of himself. Anyway, there's more to the story. The teacher at the end of one of the classes said, right, we've got a surprise for everyone. Johnny's going to get up. I don't know if that's his name. Johnny's going to get up and do a speech on Einstein. And he's like, in his brain, he's thinking, hold on, I didn't agree to this. I agreed to do the extra work, but I didn't agree to get up and do public speaking. He froze. He ran out of the room and made up some lie. No, I didn't do it. I haven't done it. The book's broken. The dog ate me homework. And he avoided the situation. And the teacher was like, no, it's fine. It's calm. The teacher was pretty cool. But he ran out of the room and threw the book in the bin. But the point of the story was, and the point that affected him was that he needed to overcome that challenge to be the version of himself he needed to get through that. And that's kind of what I do with my clients, is I help show people different ways of thinking to get you to that place you need to be, to overcome that limiting belief, that anxiety, that fear, why you're feeling depression, these different things that all build up to confuse us and trap us where we don't want to be. And the important lesson is, sometimes in life, you're not who you need to be to get where you want to go. So what you have to do is you have to train yourself to get to that. And they say, set a goal so high that you're not yet capable of doing it, but you have to become that person to achieve that goal. And that's true of life. Same for this kid, the boy with the broken brain. He had to overcome himself and be something different to get to a different place. Now, 20 years later, he's a motivational speaker. He's a multimillionaire. He sells courses. The very things he was scared of are now his power. And this is life's clever lesson. Sometimes life will send us these challenges because we need to overcome them for us to understand those limiting beliefs in us. And it doesn't matter what your situation is. If you're, you don't have the best upbringing, you had a terrible childhood, you're not that academic, maybe you hate school, maybe you're not very good with this or that, or your relationship's not doing well, whatever scenario or activity is in life, you can overcome yourself with a different mindset. You decide who you want to be and go and do that. And you need to become that. You need to get through that challenge to learn those lessons. And I'll give you a couple of simple tips, or a couple of simple ways of understanding it. When you're 7 years old, you do things a 7-year-old does. You don't know what you're going to learn over that next 10 years. But when you're 17, you've definitely been through 10 years of life. Puberty, growing up, school, changes in your body, physicality, knowledge, thoughts, the things you did as a 7-year-old, there's a drastic jump to when you're a 17-year-old. But the 17-year-old needed the 7-year-old to face those fears and those challenges to get where he wants to be. If he stayed with the same mindset and didn't do anything as a 7-year-old, he wouldn't be a very good 17-year-old, apart from being bigger and stronger. And having more facial hair and, things going on downstairs. You know what I'm saying? But then the 27-year-old needed the 17-year-old to continue improving. And that's the thing in life. You have to keep overcoming yourself. And some people get they get blocked by the challenge. Oh, it's too much. I'm too scared. I'm not good enough. This self-sabotage comes in. We procrastinate. We overthink. Those things become a byproduct of that fear. So facing that fear helps us face that challenge. But when you get through those things, you have to do it in bite-sized chunks. What that 7-year-old did to be the 17-year-old, to be the 27-year-old, didn't happen overnight. It's like running a marathon. To get to the end, you've got to do lots of tiny steps. You can't do it in one giant step. You have to and you also have to train to get to that point to do it. So there's a lot of effort that goes into it. But when you do that, the knowledge of at mile 7, at mile 12, I've never run a marathon, so I don't know, but I've heard the stories, and I've run like 15 miles, so I know what half a marathon is, or nearly half, or whatever it is. So I've run long distances, and I know what that pain feels like. I know what my legs felt like. I know what I needed to do. So if I wanted to run 20 miles, it's not so far-fetched because I've already run 15. But you have to go through those things. Let me break it down. Like, if you want to climb the stairs, you've got to do one step at a time. It's a very easy analogy. You've got to do each step at a time to get to the top. If someone said to you, how do you get from there to there? You wouldn't be able to do it without the steps. You wouldn't be able to do it without getting through those challenges. It's like eating a meal. Let me put it another way. Eating a meal. When you sit down with a big fat off roast dinner, Yorkshire puds, gravy, beef, all the splendidness that's there, you can't do it in one go. You have to eat it mouthful by mouthful by mouthful to get that sustenance, that nutrition to keep you alive. 6 hours later, you might need another meal. You can't have all your meals in one go. Bosh, have it, done, I'm off, I've got other things to be doing. Or at the end of the week, say, right, I'm only going to eat once a week. I ain't got time for food, You have to do those things. You have to, those little steps have to be achieved for you to go through that. And it's the same with life. Life teaches us many lessons. The boy with the broken brain, and how I got to be where I am today, and doing what I do. But there's lots of other things that are integrated in my personality, my character, what I decided to be. My friend loves music, so that was his passion. That's what he did. He spent all his money on equipment. He got a little studio. It's his passion. It's what he does. He integrated him so much self into that. That's what he does. And he's amazing at making music. I couldn't do what he does. Now, if I wanted to do that, first of all, I'd have to make that choice. Then I'd have to decide how I'm going to get there. And then I'd have to actually make it happen. I couldn't become a music producer overnight, instantly, job done, take a pill, I'm there, do a coursework for half an hour and I've learned everything I need to know and I'm making #1 hits. It don't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. The 7-year-old didn't become the 17-year-old overnight. Where I am today didn't happen by instant. It took steps, stages, and that application and that mindset. So part of this video was me explaining how I get to those stories. I hope it's been interesting. But also the underlying fact, anything you're facing in life, anything, you need lots of little elements to get there, lots of little steps to achieve that. Discipline, consistency, the right choices, the right application. You need time off. You need a break sometimes. So also not doing it helps you do it. Do you see? There's so many elements to that. Doing what I do when I sit down with my clients is working through those little stages. And when they get stuck at a step or they find a block or that, I've done everything I can do, I've reached the limit of my knowledge, that's normal. You might need to get a mentor or go to a college or learn something, or in a relationship, you've reached the pinnacle of what you're doing. It's like, how do we become better? Right, what can we do that's new? Let's try something that's new, something we've never done before. I don't mean have a threesome and go and have affairs. I mean, how do you spice up your relationship? How do you make it more interesting? How do you remind yourself what you had at the beginning that you might not have now? And also, when you started as the 17-year-old, the 27-year-old, whatever age you are, the future version needs you to go through those things for you to get to that. And that is today's lesson. Don't be scared of facing your challenges, looking into them, facing your fears and overcoming them in step-by-step stages. You won't do it overnight. Some people do. Some people are lucky. I got it. He told me what to do. I've gone and done it and that's it. Job done. Game over. A mate of mine did when he gave up smoking. He just decided to give up smoking. He'd tried patches and the gum and doing this and doing that and eating mints instead of having a fag. He just done it in one go. He just made that decision. But he tried all those little steps to know they wouldn't work. So he didn't, again, I'm not trying the gum, I'm not trying the patches, I ain't doing that, none of that worked. The only thing that's going to decide to do it is me, and I'm going to do it. And then he went through those steps. It doesn't mean to say it was easy, but it was worth it. And that's what I say to all my clients. It's not going to be easy, but it will be worth it. So if you can overcome those things, life gives you those challenges for you to grow into the person you need to be, to get to those places you dream of, you think about, you might want to get to. And that leads to a more calmer, centered, balanced, peaceful life that you can enjoy and love and live. That is today's tip. That's how I get my stories. They come from books, they come from talking to people, they come from my mind and how that all integrates. And then I present it in one of these videos, which I hope you enjoy. And if you do, like, subscribe, tell all your friends. And I hope you beautiful people have a wonderful day. I love you all. Peace.